we are live for Facebook. This is our work session in anticipation or in preparation for our meeting of, first meeting in May, which is going to be on May the 7th, Tuesday at 5:30. So, we do not have a presentation. The one I'm so sorry. The one that I had planned needed to come under executive session, so we will have an executive session. So we have just simply the discussion of the agenda items today, so we can be somewhat short and sweet, although we do have a fairly full agenda. So if we move it forward, we can start where we usually do, which is with minutes. So I believe Ms. Harden has gotten them to Mr. Huskisson, and he's given a thumbs up on all those.
All
So,
good.
all right, all good? I'm sorry?
3 sets, Ms. Benson prepared the 4th set, the
Yeah.
public hearing set.
Okay, so have we provided those to everybody?
I see what none of us were there, but
Okay, but you've got them, so we're good? Consent for those agenda items, for those minutes, all right? Mayor's comments, we're going to have employee introductions, and I'm sure I'll have something hopefully positive to say about what a wonderful weekend this is going to be, because by the way, no segue intended here, we've got so much going on this weekend, it is unreal, y'all. We've got, we start today at 4 o'clock, actually I think they started this afternoon with the tennis tournament.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock with the tennis tournament, 4 o'clock with softball, and 6 o'clock with baseball. And then Cornerstone's got two-day baseball event. We've got a 2-day soccer event, 2-day soccer event. And then we've got the Derby and Community Market all on Saturday. The Starkville Derby and the Community Market is a huge, huge weekend. And the hotels are full and restaurants are happy and people are wandering downtown. So it is all great stuff. So anyway, it'll be fun. Let's see, no public appearances. We do have public hearings, and I will note for you on the public hearings, first is 107 Rex Street. That will be a sort of an obligatory public hearing because Ms. Perez, or Officer Perez, has noted that Rex Street has torn down. So because we've advertised it, we'll go ahead and have it, but it has been successful in the sense that that particular building has been demolished. 49 Choctaw will be a public hearing, and then 47 Biggs Road will be a public hearing. So she'll make all those presentations, but it will be 2 full-blown ones, and then the one somewhat truncated one based on action already taking place. Under the consideration of the franchise agreement with Fort County, if y'all recall, we discussed that in executive session, and we have essentially a 2% that they have agreed to pay. They provided me a master agreement, and we had a bunch of blanks in it, and so in full transparency, I sent Mr. Clark an email and said, I can't present a master agreement with a bunch of blanks to my board, and so he did not respond to me in a timely fashion, so I filled in the blanks, and that's what you've got in front of you. I passed it by the Vice Mayor just from a legal standpoint since Mr. Huskisson has a conflict. And so what you will see is what I think is fair and reasonable. It's basically the 2%, but it also filled in the blanks with the city of Starkville or Fort County or whatever was appropriate to the entity. So that's what that's about. So if I can recommend consent, but y'all may want to take a look at it with that in mind. There is a blank there for the number of miles because I didn't know that answer, so he can fill in that answer. Number of miles of fiber, I have no idea, and I don't know that they know at this point, but anyway, whatever their plans are, and then the other one is an appendix that shows the map for where it will be. So those are the only other 2 things. So I would suggest going ahead and approving it based on getting those 2 last pieces of information from
Maybe y'all negotiated you talking about 2%.
Yes.
He knows expect that.
Yes, y'all know, he's the one who came back and said he would do 2%, so.
Okay with me, everybody else?
Consent with you? Okay. Approval of memorandum of understanding with Mississippi Department of Transportation. So the Department of Transportation has a litter pickup program. Of course, we have 12, we have 389, and we have 182 and 82 for that matter coming through the city, and they will pay us up to $50,000 a year reimbursement for having inmates or those working off fines pick up litter. And so I have talked with the chief of police, who is hiding in the corner back there somewhere, and passed it by Mr. Smiley. And so the agreement originally stated police personnel. And so I sent it back to him and said, can we use some designee? And Mr. Smiley had agreed to be a designee for those working off fines. And so they sent it back, and what you've got in there is a marked up one, but it's their marked up one, and I think it fits perfectly with what we want to do, which is to allow Mr. Smiley to be the oversight, because we really don't want to spare police folks, and we don't really have inmates. It's not the sheriff's department, but this is all within the city limits, and it's all MDOT stuff. So it is a MDOT agreement that I think works for us. So that's what that's about. We good with that one?
Go down.
Okay. And then we have the traditional Ms. Starkville, Ms. Hospitality full-page ad, which we have done every year for as long as I can remember. So good with that one?
Go down.
Okay. All right, then we have an interlocal agreement. This is the agreement with the City of Starkville, Oktibbeha County, and the Library Board of Trustees. This is just a renewal of it. They did make some changes, and the changes they made, the board approved, was to go from 10 members to 6 members. And so that's the only substantive change in that interlocal agreement. And to my knowledge, I see no reason for us not to go ahead and move forward with that one as well.
And I'd like to say, in speaking with the library director about the reduction in the number of members, like so many volunteer boards, they have trouble keeping slots filled. And so this allows them to have a more active, engaged board without, and not jeopardizing having a quorum.
Yes. So, good with that one?
Go down.
Okay. All right, then we have a resolution, and we have Ms. Benson here with CDBG, and I don't know enough about this one to speak on it, other than I understand it's an additional funding to the $740,000 or whatever it was we got for CDBG, is that right?
A CDBG application is being submitted. Applications are due May 17th
Okay.
to the Mississippi Development Authority. $750,000
$57.
is the maximum grant size that is allowed. You have a project that totals $1,426,230.
Okay.
So what we did is we took the $750 away from that, and that
Yep.
leaves the balance.
And that's what we would be on obligated for?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And I will say that matching money will help you. While it is a large amount, it will help you in the rating factors. It'll bump your score up.
Right.
On the Thursday night prior to Good Friday, we met in the project area. Alderman Bond was there. The residents of the area came to the church. They spoke their piece about the project. We explained it to them. Many of them were present at the public hearing that was held at City Hall. And they are very anxious to see this project move forward,
Good.
along with some street paving. We had to hear
We
about that too.
already got that one.
Great, so, anyway, anything you would like to say, Alderman Vaughn?
Thank you, Ms. Benson.
Oh, you're welcome. It's just that it's a little crazy right now at work trying to get these done, trying to pull information together to submit the
Right.
application.
Okay, well, good. Well, we appreciate all the work that you do, and I know that Alderman Mon does as well, certainly. Okay, cool.
My pleasure, thank you.
All right, thank you. Consent for that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a resolution acknowledging the $5 million public improvement bond. So this is sort of a pro forma requirement, right, basically?
It is, and those bonds will be sold next week.
Oh, okay, so we'll have an answer at that point in time? Okay, nice.
And there was an email today from our financial advisor, who said there are 6 groups that are interested in bidding on the bonds, and unlike real estate, having more people interested in the bonds tends to drive the price down as opposed to up. So we're hoping that we'll get a good result.
Now, what street improvements, what, this is street paving?
Just street
This is the
paving.
program
And
that
then-
Cody presented.
The debt service on these bonds is
Use
bonds.
tax.
MIMA tax. Okay.
Okay, what you got here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Amending the lease on the enterprise fleet management, we're going to be adding 2 trucks for street, 1 truck for parks, and a truck for landscaping, and a truck for fire. So this is part of that enterprise plan that we're using. So, okay. Consideration of approving the lower of 2 quotes, and this is for the library's air conditioning is out.
The library's 3 air conditioning
Okay, yes,
systems are
yeah.
out.
And so this is the least expensive one of the group that we could get quotes on, and I don't know if have we heard from them? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna go there. TVA has said that they might participate in helping us with the AC unit, and this is on here if they choose not to do so. So we're still hopeful, fingers crossed, that they will participate in making this happen, so,
And RTU is a rooftop unit.
yes, yes.
Mayor, while we're talking about library, we had some trees that were cut near the library a couple weeks ago. And what it did, you probably, I know you're aware, but is exposed something that I had never paid attention to because the trees were there. We have electric service to that building that looks like temporary service. It comes off a wood pole to a sawed-off wood pole and then goes underground to our building. The underground service is great, it's just what it's coming off of. Looks like what a contractor puts out on a site when they do a building. And I know you've noticed, of course you've noticed it. I'd like to see us put permanent, shown code. That wouldn't be code now, probably.
Is that all electric, Edward, or is some of it, do you have any idea if it's low voltage?
We could look at it.
But I mean, where we have a box and the electric service goes on a box,
Right, but if it's telecommunication, we're gonna have to, that's a different animal. We're gonna have to get with AT&T or whoever it is, so.
But there has to be a solution to what we got there.
We'll look and see.
Something like that.
Unfortunately, as you well know, we have less leverage with some of those folks, but we can certainly.
AT&T is kind of hard to
Yeah,
respond.
we
They
can
don't
certainly
respond
work
very
on
well.
that, and I'll make a note, so.
So in other words, we could put in the electric service underground and there'd still be stuff going through that
Right.
wood pole under that, this AT&T
Depends on
stuff.
who's that pole. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Because it does, looks like a temporary pole.
we'll look
I
at it and
didn't pay
see.
attention to this,
Yeah.
see it.
Okay, yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, so we can consent that, but again, we'll be holding off until we check on the donations. Okay, all right.
On this thing, could you look at, give Mr. Kemp a look and see what a contractor somebody give us some kind of rough number of what that would entail, if it could be done with AT&T, if it can be coordinated with AT&T where that service could be put into something more permanent looking, which would include them and the wiring and everything, and what the cost would be, so we have some kind of idea whether we want to entertain that.
Yeah, we'll look and see. I have an AT&T contact who's fairly responsive, and we'll see if we can make that.
We did just install a brand new concrete pole in the southeast corner of the library property, right there by the alley.
Right, and I'm,
So it might be.
come straight off of that into your building.
Might could move their service.
Up to that?
Point from there, but it would require some coordination with an electrician to move that service entry point.
But that is at least possible.
Potentially.
We'll take a look at it. Okay, sure. All right, community development, we have 2 public hearings. Daniel, anything in particular about those that you would like to share?
The first part, fire protection, that's related to update EDC, there's some
Right.
stuff in the municipal code.
And this is just calling for those
It
hearings, but
doesn't need
yes.
to be there.
Yeah.
So we're moving it over to EDC.
Okay.
And then the second half is, making a new section of municipal code for right of way protection. It's just requiring permits and stuff like driveways. Trees.
Yeah, tree trimming, et cetera. Okay, and this is just calling for the public hearing, so consent for that? Okay. And then this will be travel for Steen is going to go to the ADA symposium up in Minneapolis, so consent for that one. Thank you so much. All right, under engineering, Cody, there you are. Okay, we, nothing in particular, I want to make sure if I look for you, you were somewhere in the room. I don't know necessarily if there's anything here, but the Burns Dirt Construction, this is a low quote for Spring Street Sidewalk Connector Project. Okay, consent for that one. And then we have a low quote from Groundstone for Highway 12 Sidewalk Connector. Okay, consent for that one. Garver Engineering, anything about Garver that you want to share? But just so
I
that
would just say this is a continuation of the NDOT funded TA projects we've been doing the past few years. This is like a really critical connection that's tying in a lot of these multi-use paths to build together. So that's what this is for. This is picking the consultant and then approving the contract with them.
Okay, all right, kind of normal stuff. Consent for that? All right, thank you. Then we have the claims docket, and then budget amendment, budget adjustments. Anything, Lisa, of note in the budget adjustments, or those? Okay. Okay, consent for that. All right, fire department, Chief Yarborough down to Natchez for the fire department and fire chiefs conference. Okay, thank you. Let's see what else. Purchasing, okay, this is the analytic system. You want to share a little bit of that, Chief, about what this is exactly?
Yes, ma'am. This is a scheduling system that we need. This also doubles as we talked about the rating, getting our rating down. This is one of the things to help get your rating down. This will put all of our training electronics. Now, right now, we're still using paper. This will take that completely away. We use everything electronically, and then, like I said, the scheduling system, but overtime and everything, we can do it all. Instead of text message, this system will take care of all that. And also combine with the system that we just extra board for last board meeting. So
Okay.
it all comes together.
Works together? Okay. So is this a one-time purchase? Is there an annualized,
It's an annual fee,
ongoing?
yes, ma'am.
Or this is an annual cost?
The
It's
annual
a-
cost will be about $8,000.
Okay.
A little less than this.
Okay, all right, so, all right, thank you. Consent for that one? Any issues?
Consent.
Okay. And then purchasing the telephone system, as we know, the telephone system is, Joel's been working with them on that one, so we just need a new telephone system.
Consent.
Okay. All righty, HR, any of these, Mr. Ashford, any of these appointments or
They're all
hirings are all replacements, right? Okay. All right, so we have a deputy court clerk, consent, animal control officer, which I know she'll need some relief, consent, and then we have utilities for coordinator, and what else do we have here? Non-certified firefighters, so. Let's see, police officers, all righty, and then lineman crew chiefs, we're starting to fill in the ranks here, okay? And then seasonal sanitation workers,
Consent.
and then civil engineer, interns, great. Okay, yes, ma'am.
That is sort of a new program and project-driven, right, Edward?
And all four of those are working on our lead copper inventory for the summer.
Okay, good, good.
Good you-
That'll be partly talked about in our water eval presentation coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
It's good use of interns, I
Yeah.
think. So.
Okay, all right, so we have antivirus software. Joel is keeping us safe.
Consent.
Okay, consent for that one. And under parks, we have professional services contract for the Starkville Park signage project. We want to be, I think, more consistent in how we do this, so we're looking at doing it in a way that will be the same throughout all our parks. So I think this is a good project, so consent for that one. John Deere Gator, Texas, John Deere Gator TX turf, state contract, and this is part of that hauling things for the park, right?
Yep, so we have a workman that is basically unrepairable at this point, so.
Yeah, so it's a replacement.
It would be a replacement.
Okay, all right, consent. All right, then the inflatable bounce houses. So let's talk about those just for fun, because I think there's an opportunity there for us to have some things going on the weekends for kids. I hear it a lot, that the children don't have anything to do, and so the plan is to have some of these bounce houses that can serve dual purpose, because we've used them and rented them for July 4th, for example. But every time we do, we have to give them back and we've just got money gone. So in this way, we can use them on the weekends for parties and such, and then also use them for July the 4th. So I think it's a great use of funds and things for the kids to do, so.
Is there a liability issue? Great idea.
Everything we do has a liability issue associated with it, so, from, pick it, but yes, I'm sure there is.
It
in some
does,
kind.
but everybody who would use those would have the waiver signed.
Yeah.
So unless
Yeah.
it was a general, like the 4th of July, that's kind of a general understanding of waiver on this.
Okay.
Food services definitely have
Gotcha.
sign that waiver before you get on.
Okay. Any issues from your perspective, just legally speaking, liability?
The waivers help.
Yeah.
And, we have to do something negligent to be responsible, so it's just the
Yeah.
way of the world.
Yeah, it is. Well, and city, even if we're not responsible, we end
We
up,
can be
in some
sued.
cases.
Mayor, we might run by a carrier for, we said, how we do our.
Well, we do them now. We already do bounce houses now.
We just don't own them.
We just don't own them. We rent them and then we give them back.
Which, those owners probably have a lot of, I live with a lot of kids.
MML.
What you talking about, make sure that we're covered to the extent possible?
Just ask them if that would affect our liability coverage if we bought four of those things. And
We can certainly ask the question.
They're probably gonna say no, or they might say, yeah, we'll upcharge you 5% or something. We just won't know.
Sure.
Ahead of time.
Sure, we can ask the question.
I think this could be fine.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
uncommon.
Yeah, no.
Parks and Rec departments have this.
Sure. Okay, all right, well, we'll do it. Consent for that, though, and we'll just find that information out? Okay. 3 trail directional signs from Mitchell, and that's out at Cornerstone.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're really very attractive. East Mississippi,
East Mississippi.
Yeah.
Sponsored that trail independently.
Yes.
And that should be the last sponsorship for Cornerstone.
yeah, and they're very nice looking, yeah. Okay, consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay, lowest quote to install HVAC units and split rail fencing, same company, at Cornerstone. This is for the umpires. That's one of those things that we have now discovered as part of the operation, is they need to have a little more air conditioning in order to get out of the heat when they're in between games, so.
What's the
consent.
split rail fencing? Sorry, I have laryngitis. But what is that?
Split rail fencing is wood fencing and cedar, it's 8 tall. We bought the product last year, January of last year, and it just goes up and around the parking areas
Okay.
and at the front entrance and things like that. Basically, they're just, because they're already mobilized to do the HVAC units, they've gotten a couple of days just to do it.
Okay, all right.
Manpower.
Consent for that one? We have a change order of the field turf. This is the logo. We had some logos that were not particularly well done, and so this is a replacement logo, and so that's what that's about. So, consent. All right, thank you. Under police, we have sole source for camera, fuse core, elite, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not even sure, Chief, anything in particular you want to share about that?
It's just a credit to the Real-Time Intelligence Center, a way that we are expanding the number of
Cameras?
cameras that are coming onto the
Right.
system.
Okay, yes, and we do want to expand. I think we're getting more and more every day who are interested in being a part of that FUSA system, right?
Yes, ma'am. There you
Okay,
go.
all right. Consent for that? Okay. Code enforcement, this will be calling for a public hearing. This is 102 Yellow Jacket, and we heard today that they are potentially in the process of going ahead and demolishing that, but we want to go forward with it in case that work stops. So just calling for public hearing, consent for that one? And then we have 3 utilities items. This is a change order to the wood pole maintenance and inspection services. Mr. Kemp, anything about this one you want to share?
No, ma'am, it's just 2 additional things we wanted the inspection to include that were not included in the original scope.
Okay, all right.
Consent.
Consent for that one. Advertising for source of supply bids, yay, the usual, right? Okay. Good.
The cost will be higher.
I'm sure they will, I'm sure they will. Consent for that one.
Consent.
And then continuing the narrative 12 communication support for the utilities department. So, and that's checking. So, consent?
Consent.
All right, and then we do have the executive session item, which will be a land sale or lease. So, that's it. All right, good deal. We're going to have a great weekend, guys. I hope everyone has wonderful, keep your fingers crossed for good weather so that all those things can happen.
That means Tuesday night.
And apparently, yeah, a little bit of rain. All right, we're out. Thank you very much.
Hotel, Jeff Hotel.